got news for you. I have several companies. I make an enormous amount of money. I have a very large asset base. I pay all of my bills on all of my...
Okay, so this video was recommended to me by YouTube. 7 things to never say to a contractor. Which, I don't know why it surprised me that YouTube recommended this to me. Because, hello, YouTube.
I am a contractor.
This video is geared towards the consumer. But you know, I thought it would be interesting to do a reaction video to it. This video was put on by Phil Pustajovsky. This video was put on by a guy named Phil. He looks like a big deal. He's... Phil is the big deal. Okay, stop it. He has 274,000 subscribers, which is a butt ton. This video alone almost has 500,000 views. I'm just gonna bring it one more view closer to that. You're welcome, Phil. We're gonna go ahead and see what this whole thing is about. 7 things to never say to a contractor. Let's get it.
7 things to never say to a contractor. Or I could call this video 7 common ways that contractors can screw you, take advantage of you, get the best of you. Wisdom that can help you against this mighty giant, contractors. Because they are the source of so much anxiety, stress, problems in the world of real estate. They are masters at being able to extract the maximum amount of profit and of materials and of resources from you and giving the least amount back.
Already, just from the verbiage that this guy is using, it sounds like he's had a lot of bad experiences with a lot of bad contractors.
They negotiate deals whereby they're the ones that are ahead. So what I'm hoping to do in this video is to educate you and put you into a position, not so you can take advantage of contractors. I'm a huge fan of people making a profit. But instead to make sure you don't get screwed. And as you can tell, I'm probably going to offend some contractors.
You're so offensive, Phil!
Pustajovsky, by the way. I'm a real estate investor, but also, as I just mentioned, a mentor and coach to those all across North America. Best-selling author of a couple of books. My first book, How to Be a Real Estate Investor, I give away for free.
Holy crap, this dude is giving away books for free? Sign me up!
My second book, more for intermediate and experts, is called Real Estate Investing Gone
Probably
Bad,
won't be reading that one.
Not to do. In fact, and this is the #1 YouTube channel on real estate investing in the world. And the reason is because I share with you wisdom and knowledge you'll hear nowhere else.
I feel like he should have implemented some sort of like crowd cheering sound effect right there. I'm gonna do it for him. No, that's too small of a crowd for Phil. Here we go, sports stadium cheering sound effect. That is Phil level. Oh, we so gotta make this happen. How do I share this? Download link. Here we go. Let's download this. Media fire.
About contractors in there. And this is the #1 YouTube channel on real estate investing in the world. And the reason is because I share
It's a skill.
So these are 7 things to never say to a contractor, and when you follow these rules, you will be far better off in ensuring you don't get screwed. #1, to tell a contractor you're the only one bidding the job. Always get a minimum of 3.
Okay, so his first point is a good one. You know, I even follow this rule when I'm getting some subs on a big project. I'm always getting at least 3. I mean, I've never really ran into this problem. It's never really come up in the conversation that any client would just openly tell me, you're the only contractor that is bidding this project. I mean, but if it ever did, I would still probably not change my price of the bid based off of that. I have like a set like square footage prices, and everything is just set to where I like it to be at.
And just when you think you've got it all figured out and you've got the perfect electrician, the perfect HVAC, still get 3 bids, minimum. I'd prefer you get more. Number 2, my budget is...
$2.5 million.
And you tell them what the budget is. Don't ever tell a contractor what your budget is. Don't say, hey, I'm hoping to get this job done for a total of $20,000. No!
Okay, let's just stop it right here. This dude is seriously fired up. I am really certain that this dude just got like the ultimate screw over from a contractor immediately before making this video.
They're gonna figure out how to make their bill $20,000 about what you want the budget to be. Instead, what you tell them is this. I have hired you to give me a bid because I need to know what it's gonna cost to do these things.
There are some exceptions to this, obviously. If you're doing new construction, then you're going to come to the contractor with a certain budget range, and then we figure out how to get the most house for that budget range. I'm guessing he's talking about smaller projects, maybe remodels or something, renovations when you're first getting into a new home. Obviously, yeah, new construction is a different story, but I do agree with him. If it's something smaller, I would advise you not to tell a contractor in case if you come across a bad contractor, because, yeah, the bad ones will take advantage of you.
And you want them, like I said, to break up materials and labor. Now, on the subject of materials, this is a huge, huge screwing point for many contractors. They will upcharge you for the cost of materials.
See, okay, this is where I kind of disagree with Phil a little bit. I don't necessarily think that it's a big screwing point. I think that us contractors have to get paid for our time to grab the materials and figure out the deliveries and stuff like that. Most contractors, they will upprice the materials list by like, say, 10%. To make up for their time to grab the materials for you, which totally makes sense. We deserve to be paid for that time that we're spending to gather all the materials up. That can take a lot of time out of our days. You know, maybe we just need to categorize that under the labor section and keep that separate. I don't know, but I still think that, you know, we have to get compensated for our time. Another thing that I do with clients is I just let them know up front. I'm saying, hey, I upcharge, and I give them the option sometimes based on what project it is. You know, if I think that they can go grab the right materials, I will actually give them a materials list. Sometimes you can have clients that will grab the wrong materials, and that's where it kind of becomes a problem of like, okay, us contractors, we have to pick up the stuff because they're not going to know exactly what we're talking about. So that one's kind of a tough one, but we'll see what Phil says.
So, when you do get a bid back, you want to independently verify the cost of materials. I've had contractors, even in the past couple of weeks, stare me right in the eye and tell me the cost of materials is $850. And I pull it up on my phone and I show them it's $550. And I say, you can get out of here right now for lying to me. It's a lot harder to verify labor. You have to sit there and, clock them. So, either way, as you can tell, I get a little intense about this. I don't put up with this crap with contractors. Okay, so don't ever tell them a budget. Have them come back to you and make sure it's in such a way where you can independently verify certain things like materials as well as be able to compare that to the other bids you've gotten. Number 3, you ask, can I get a discount if I pay you the entire amount up front?
Oh my god. Okay, let's be honest, this one is so dumb. Like, I've never been asked this before, but I have heard of people that have done this. And why do you do that? I mean, what sort of incentive is the discount giving? First of all, I would probably never discount my work for that. And second of all, giving them all of the money up front?
What the heck are you thinking?
I've actually heard many stories of this happening, and I've actually had calls where I've gone out to projects to get a bid, and they want me to finish the rest of the project that a contractor ran off for because they gave him the money up front with no contractual relationship. I'm just like, why? I'll ask for half of the price up front, and that covers mainly like the materials and a little bit of the labor. And then I don't expect to get paid for the project until the whole project is completed and we do a walkthrough, we have inspections, whatever we need to do to get it done. But I have never ran into this instance that I have ever been paid up front. Even if it's a really small project, I won't even ask for half up front. If it's like under $1,000 project, I'll just say, hey, go ahead and pay me at the very end of the project.
Oh boy, that is a dumb
dumb question.
They're up front, they're just not going to do a good job if they do any job at all. They'll just take your money and disappear. You're thinking, yeah, but Phil, what about reviews on Angie's List and Home Advisor? Don't they want to serve the customer? Contractors serve the customer? No. They usually can't look past Friday afternoon.
Whoa.
They're going from job to job. They don't think through all the consequences of screwing people. They just do it.
Hey, come on. Okay, Phil crossed the line here. Come on, man. Phil, that's just me.
Number 4, you tell them I'm not in a hurry. Never tell a contractor you're not in a hurry. Just set dates and deadlines.
Okay, yeah, I've never set like an actual deadline. It was more of like a day-ish. But he brings on a good point here. You should have something in writing that says, hey, you know, we at least have to have it finished before this date. And as any contractors that are watching this video, make sure to give yourself extra weeks to do your projects. Don't cut yourself short. You're not Superman. You're not going to get the project done in 2 days. It's going to take you at least a week longer.
It's the only way to get them to get their butts out of bed fast enough to actually get the job done. Chances are you as a real estate investor work infinitely harder day in, day out, month in, month out than they do.
Did you just say infinitely harder? I think I could work circles around you, Phil.
Now they're going to go out and they're going to put their 3 to 4 hours.
Holy crap, 3 to 4 hours. Are any of you contractors actually doing this? Times that by 4.
And then they're going to be wrapped up. So when I was living in Tennessee, I was going to get some materials at this material supplier Friday at 1 o'clock. And I walk in the office and I'm waiting for the materials to come down from the forklift and get put on the truck. And the phone rings. And then it rings again. And nobody's picking it up. I asked the person, I said, why is this phone continue to ring and nobody's picking it up? And they said, oh, well, Phil, that's a Tennessee tradition. We knock off at 1 o'clock on Fridays.
What? Well, guys, it's time to move to Tennessee. I think I know where I'm headed.
Yeah, because then that could put some more work on us this afternoon. In fact, you're kind of holding us up. We got to get moving.
That is super unprofessional. Like, who in their right mind would be talking to a client and say, oh, well, we're knocking off at 1 o'clock today. You're getting in our way. That is super frustrating.
1 o'clock, Tennessee tradition. Number 5, you tell the contractor, oh, you go ahead. You choose the materials. You take care of it. You're the professional.
Oh, my goodness. I have been asked this all the time. We're down for whatever. You can choose whatever materials that you want for that. No! I don't want to choose the materials for your project. This is your house, not mine. That puts us in a really awkward position because it's like, I don't know what your style is. I don't know what you want out of your house. You guys need to make that decision. We can point you in the right direction of like, here are the materials out there on the market right now. Here is the price points for those materials. But I am not going to choose those materials for you. That is your judgment.
Now, you get education from them on what the differences are. And there's typically going to be a high end, there's going to be a low end, there's going to be in the middle. You need to educate yourself, even if it takes time, because they will mark those things up, and they'll laugh about it. I've talked to many contractors that say, oh yeah, that cost me $250, but I charged him $500 for it. Yeah, these are real conversations I've had with contractors.
Did he really laugh like that? That contractor is one savage dude.
Contractors, they think it's funny. I think it's horrible. Number 6. So the general contractor says to you, hey, I've got this group that they can come in, do a great job. They're not legal, and they'll just kind of come in and out, but what do you think? And you say the phrase, oh, I don't care who does the work, as long as it gets done. You know, part of this, of the gigantic amount of liability that could be on your shoulders if one of these people gets hurt.
It's actually a super good point. Make sure that all the subs are licensed. Make sure that your contractor is licensed. Because, yeah, that can turn into a huge mess if there's any sort of injury at the job site.
That also brings up this point in working with general contractors. You have to be critically careful about making sure that the subs are getting paid. Me personally, I always pay the subs directly. Where GCs get the money and they don't pay the subs. and they're always on the phone. I'm so sorry, I'm working on it. Oh, that sub's crazy. Oh, he drinks a lot. Oh, you have no idea his coke has.
What was that?
None of that crap. I work directly with the sub and directly with the GC. That way, there's no way the sub comes back and says, I'm fine.
That swig was not worth it for this video.
I just did $3,000 of electrical work and didn't get paid. That's very serious. So, you do care who does the work. And by the way, sometimes the GC is going to say, oh, but you're too busy to pay. I got news for you. I have several companies. I make an enormous amount of money. I have a very large asset base. I pay all of my bills on all of my bills. But I always have time to pay a subcontractor. Always have time for that. Number 7, a gentleman's agreement, aka a handshake deal.
It's confession time. I am really guilty of this one. I am super old-fashioned, so I like that handshake agreement type of thing. It just makes me feel good that it's like two parties can trust each other enough to do that. But, you know, unfortunately, Phil is right on this one. You can't do that in this day and age. And it's like Phil here is talking about how you can get screwed over by a contractor for doing that. I've actually had the exact opposite happen to me as well. So contractors, this is a very good incentive to get everything in writing. It's the client that didn't pay me because it's like, I don't feel like I have to pay. We have nothing in writing. That's why I try to make my contracts as detailed as possible now. Even though I am old-fashioned, I have just tried to get into the good habit of doing that. Just because if there's any sort of a dispute as to what work was said to be done or anything like that, we can go straight to the contract and I have it very detailed and written out what materials I'm using and what the scope of work is.
I don't care if it's a simple one-page little piece of paper. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be long and drawn out. If for nothing else, so that you both don't forget what you agreed to. I tell that to contractors a lot. I say, this has nothing to do with trust, although I don't trust contractors. But it's really because I want to make sure that you and I are on the same page. And we don't...
What kind of a wink was that?
Oh, I don't trust contractors.
We'll get 2 months down the road or a month down the road, and you and I are bickering over what we agreed to in the beginning. Each material cost, they can still screw you there by faking receipts, but it's a little bit harder and it's a little bit more lying in writing, which obviously that becomes more of a criminal activity.
Crap, like what contractors are you hiring on? Like who fakes receipts? Have you guys ever faked receipts in your life? That is, like, who even goes through the time of doing that? You guys could be making so much more money by doing quality work rather than spending time. Oh my goodness.
No handshake deals with contractors. You do that, you're looking for a screw-in. So those are 7 things to never say to a contractor. And oftentimes we're in a hurry in life and we try to take shortcuts. Don't take shortcuts with contractors. So I encourage them to make a profit, but not to do so at the expense of you where they go so far above and beyond. All right, well, I'm Phil Fustiowski, the Freedom Mentor, a little more intense than usual. I hope you learned quite a bit. If you have any questions, comments, put them down.
All jokes aside, that was a good video. I feel like, you know, this discussion has to be brought to the forefront. It's why the construction industry is probably like one of the most sketchy industries, because there's so many freaking hacks out there doing hack jobs, trying to screw over clients. All Phil is doing here is he is holding people accountable. And I feel like a lot of people in the construction industry, they just don't give a They really don't. He was very intense. He's probably a little bit over the top. But I agree with just about everything that he said there. I mean, those are actually 7 really good points. I'm not going to really argue any of them because, I mean, as contractors, we should be doing a lot of this stuff anyways. We should be doing the right thing for people.